Hello friends, welcome back to my living room, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Thursday. Thursday, yes, it's Thursday. Thursday's a great day. I love Thursdays. I'm in my living room at my piano and just thinking about some new thoughts today that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share with you because I've wandered dangerously close to politics, and that scares the bejibbers out of me because I've always wanted to be apolitical. Not that I don't understand that politics is going to be influential on my life, but my greatest contribution to politics is staying out of it. And I want to make sure that you know, so I was doom scrolling through the socials the other day, and I saw a video of a politician. I can't remember which politician, but they were talking about battery energy storage as fantasy thinking because it could not replace carbon based fuels as a baseload energy source. And I thought that entire video illustrates exactly what's wrong with politics and social influence in North America today. Because that politician is not wrong. Battery energy storage as it exists today cannot support baseload energy needs anywhere that I can think of, but especially not in northern climates like Alberta. But it's not the only energy storage solution. And I think that is the lie that we're being sold, is that there needs to be a sole single source energy solution to to replace fossil fuels in our energy needs. And I'm coming to the conclusion that politicians everywhere are so out of touch that it is time to return to an ideal of self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency in energy, self-sufficiency in food production, self-sufficiency. I mean, I watch a YouTuber by the name of Mark who does a channel called Self-Sufficient Me, and the motto is, you don't have to be self-sufficient at everything, but be self-sufficient at something. And I think that that's a good place to start. But I've been thinking all morning about ways that I can reduce my reliance on government-controlled energy production. And it's not easy because it's going to require a lot of capital outlay. I mean, purchasing solar panels and wind turbines and whatever other energy storage production means I can gather, along with a storage solution to be able to store that power, is a huge investment. And to be clear, I'm not trying to go off grid. I'm not trying to deny anybody else the use of that power. I think that if we all contribute a little bit, then we all benefit a lot. Another YouTuber that I watch, Matt Farrell, who lives in the northeastern United States, has created a net zero home that is grid tied so that when the energy production of his home exceeds the consumption that it needs, it feeds into the grid. I think that's a great solution. I think that decentralizing production of power is one of the biggest answers to what we can do, but I don't think the answer is to bring in legislation that's going to impede renewable energy solutions from being developed in our province. I don't think the answer is to force people to rely on fossil fuels. Um, and uh, and I'd like to see our governments commit to that. If you can't incentivize it, at least don't inhibit it. And 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 again, I'm not trying to come down on one side or the other of a climate change argument. I'm not trying to encourage you to believe in any of the philosophies behind what started this revolution, but the revolution is happening. The revolution of energy independence from centralized sources is occurring around the world. And we can either be part of that or we can be left behind. Um, there is no sole source solution to any of our problems. There is no silver bullet. There's no magic pill. There's nothing that's going to make you lose weight without eating less and exercising. There's nothing that's going to reduce carbon emissions other than stopping using carbon-based fuel. There's nothing that's going to create your independence by relying on someone else to do it for you. So yeah, I mean, it's been really taxing on my mental health this last couple of days, because I see this argument again and again. It's a false narrative where our politicians are trying to polarize us and distract us from. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so there are so many reasons that they could be distracting us. But the whole point being that it's a false narrative. It's not left versus right, conservative versus liberal. It is all of us working together to create a future that includes all of us. And I hope that you will find ways to increase your own self-sufficiency, whether that be by planting more gardens and vegetables and edible things, looking at alternatives that can make you more food secure independently, or whether that be reducing your reliance on centralized energy sources. ATCO has great facilities that run on natural gas and coal fire and all the rest. And I'm not saying that those are inherently bad things, but this is not the argument about climate change. This is the argument about our reliance on centralized sources keeps us reliant on them. It gives us an expectation that they will provide. We give you money, you give us energy. Well, maybe we need to be a little bit more, how about I produce my own energy? How about in those times when I can't produce enough of my own energy, there is a reliable solution for me to tie into. But I want to try and produce as much of my own energy as I can. And I realize that there is a certain amount of privilege talking there. I mean, not everybody has access to the things that can make them energy independent. And one of those things is not just the knowledge, but the skill set and the wealth to be able to invest in those things. And you know what? I'm saying this and knowing that it is a very capital intensive investment that I may not make. But the fact that I'm thinking about it, and then that leads to this idea that our politicians, I spoke the other day about how banks only product is debt, um, and how that their business model is based on getting you into debt and keeping you there. Well, it's starting to feel like our politicians have a similar model, only the debt load isn't money, it's energy, it's taxation, it's um, it's making us reliant on their centralized means of living where we live that is going to keep us subjugated. Instead of having the politicians serve us, it's like we're serving the politicians. I'm not. I don't adhere to any particular political party. I like some of the ideas of conservatism, and I say that not as a UCP supporter, but as a fiscal conservative. I believe in living within your means and not taking on a lot of debt load. But I also believe in some very strong social values. I believe in socialized medicine. I believe in taking care of people who who through no fault of their own can't take care of themselves. You know, whether that be assisted living or some other form of helping. You know, I can't understand why in our North American societies there are any unhoused people. Homes stand vacant everywhere. My mother is in a facility in a small town in Alberta that was built maybe 10 years ago, and it's for seniors, some of whom require assistance in their living, some of whom can live relatively independently. The facility is less than 50% full. I don't understand why those facilities are not being opened to more people. And before you bring up the ideas of security risk, I would remind you that the reason why security is a risk with unhoused people is because their lives are so tenuous. They have no place to base their life around. They have no possessions that are stable influences in their lives. You know, if they are reliant on substances to numb them from their psychological, emotional, or physical pain, that is a symptom of their being unhoused. It is a medical crisis, not a legal justice crisis. In my opinion, take it or leave it. You can have a different opinion than me, and I will still love you and respect you, because we all have different experiences. But I still don't understand why this false narrative of you're on the left or you're on the right and therefore you're against each other is being touted by politicians who are supposed to be making things better for us all. Now, I also understand that modern democracy, especially within the context of capitalism, is an adversarial position. The people on one side are supposed to be arguing against the people on the other side so that we're refining the thoughts, processes, and ideas to the benefit of us all. But that has deteriorated. We've lost that concept at some point, and now they're arguing not about the ideas, but about the people who are bringing them forward. They're arguing not for the betterment of us all, but for the benefit of themselves. And I think that that's a hard thing for me to accept, because like I said, I believe in a lot of social values, and I believe that we as a society are here to help one another. If you want to, within the context of this capitalist society, you want to go work hard and make millions of dollars, good on you. I'm happy for you. I think you should. But I don't think that that should be done by exploiting other people to their detriment so that you can benefit. And life isn't a competition. You know, I was telling my daughters the other day that around here, we don't play to put each other down, we play to lift each other up. And I think that that's a concept that needs to get back into our political spectrum, so that they can understand that the arguments that they're making are not just because they need to be diametrically opposed to whoever's across the aisle from them, but these arguments that they're making need to be to refine the ideas for the benefit of everyone. The even distribution of everything is a bell curve. There are 5% of the people who are going to be dissatisfied with absolutely every outcome of whatever you're arguing. There are 5% of the people who will be 100% satisfied no matter how the argument comes out, and the rest of us fall somewhere in between. So I'm not trying to say that when I say the benefit of everyone, I don't mean that everyone needs to be equally happy. I mean that overall, the concepts and ideas that are being put forward need to be happening so that the majority of the 40 million people who live in Canada benefit from it. And blanket solutions, centralized solutions, can't service the majority of the people. I don't mean 50% plus one. I mean 75 or 80% of the population. I mean the people that 75 to 80% of Nunavut benefits just as much as 75 to 80% of Toronto. I mean the whole nation. And I think that also has been lost in our national politics, in our provincial politics. We're seeing locally in Alberta that has been lost. Municipally, I'm pretty pleased that they're not so far out of touch. But I think that that's, again, an effect of municipal politics. Municipal politics generally is not partisan. And because you've got, a dozen people in a population of 60,000 or 75,000 or however many people are in Fort McMurray right now, that is a ratio that's far more intimate than 300 people in a population of 40 million. So necessarily they're going to be in better touch, but that doesn't mean that every decision that is being made is to the benefit of the entire community, because you also have to remember that the governance model is that the government governs, which means they look at broad strokes, and the administration implements, and some of those operational decisions are being made by people that we haven't elected. And that happens at all three levels of government as well. So I'm sorry it's not a happy-dappy post. I'm sorry that it's not, a real sis boom ba. But it was something that was on my mind, which is, can't we all just get along? I hope that your Thursday goes well. The kids are out of school tomorrow. And that means that we have a long weekend-ish. And I hope that you do too. I hope that you have time to spend some time with people you love. I hope you have time to spend some time in nature. I hope you have some time to create, do some art. I hope you have some time to explore, to connect. That's the other thing that I've noticed the last few days. My lovely wife and I, Natasha, have been watching a couple of programs on Netflix that we both really enjoy. And we hadn't been watching them for a while because we watched through the last season, and once that season was over, it just didn't become part of our habit. And boy, did we miss it. At least I did. I can't speak for her, but I sure really like just unwinding and spending some time doing things we love. Speaking of art, I want to thank my friend Ben for this amazing painting, Ben Suarez. If you get a chance to hear him play his music, or see his art, or purchase his art, I highly recommend it. If anyone recognizes this hand-drawn piece, let me know. I purchased it at an auction, and I can't make out the signature, and I've asked several art experts that I know if they can help me find out where it came from, and neither the place that I got it from, or the place that they got it from, or the art people I know can tell me anything about it. I love the piece. I'm not getting rid of it. But if you know anything about it, I'd love to know. I love my kids' art. I love local artists. And I love you. Please have a great, great day ahead, and we'll talk soon. Love you. Bye.